education program that will be done in conjunction with community groups.
While latest testing on the lower Eyre Peninsula around Port Lincoln, Brickers Island and Boston Bay have been cleared of brevetoxins, so oysters and mussel growers are able to trade again. A man will front court for menacing and harassing behaviour against police. The 45-year-old allegedly called the police assistance line 251 times over 9 hours. It came to an end when police went to a property at Paradise in the early hours of this morning, arresting him. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it's potentially putting lives in danger.
And we'd like to remind the public this type of behaviour places the community at risk. And the calls placed to 1-444 services, they save lives. They use to get police to people who need it as quick as possible.
Well, 4 of SAPOL's most dedicated canine officers, Jax, Axe, Chaos and Zera, are retiring from duty. The police dog with the longest history is Jax, who joined in 2017. He was deployed over 1,100 times, helping locate 186 people and recover over 100 items of property. And it's been revealed cockatoos can actually dance. Scientists have analysed the birds' moves via videos on social media. Natasha Lubke from Charles Sturt University has identified a total of 30 distinct moves.
We identify it as dancing as they're doing the movements in a sequence. So the individual moves they do, such as flopping and head banging, can be seen independently, but it's when they do it in combination of at least 3 or more, then we define that as dancing.
Turning to 5AA Sport as selection night for the Crows and Port. The Power at home to Fremantle on Saturday night, while Adelaide meet West Coast in Perth on Sunday. Meantime, Magpie Steel Sidebottom will play his 350th game tonight against Hawthorn at the MCG. 19-year-old opener Sam Constas has been selected in the Australia A squad for a tour of India next month. He's the only incumbent Test player picked to face India A. And netball great Laura Geitz says being inducted into the Sport Australia Hall of Fame is deeply humbling. 7 new members have been announced today, including AFL champ Jason Dunstall and Leighton Hewitt. Laura says it's an honour to join the likes of Kathy Freeman, who was a real inspiration.
I hope that maybe this journey here for me now inspires some little young lady out there to have that same moment. So that's the power of sport. It doesn't matter what discipline you are or what your journey's been. I think there's just some really strong messaging there, which is pretty amazing.
Now I'm checking 5AA traffic.
At Regency Park, a breakdown on South Road near Teminka Street. Also at Regency Park, a smash on the north-south motorway near South Road. On Marshallburst Watermain, Port Road near Station Place, with lane closed affecting citybound. And busy South Road at Edwardstown for the drive home. Cameras Blacktop Road, Hillbank and Cross Road at Kings Park. G'day, complimentary entree size piping hot butternut pumpkin soup added to your dine-in. Order at Faster Pasta, but only for a limited time. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
To the weather, partly cloudy 16 today, partly cloudy again tomorrow 15, more of the same on Saturday 16 and up to 19 for Sunday. Right now 14. Now let's see what's happening on 9 News tonight.
I'm Kate Collins. Tonight, a Paradise man arrested following reports police received more than 250 calls in just 8 hours. A South Australian world first, low methane beef now available. Top tips to pay off your tax debt and avoid costly fees, and just how long it takes for social media scrolling to impact your brain. 9 News, your news, nightly at 6 on 9 and 9 now.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide. 5AA Afternoons with Leith, Forrest.
Third hour of the show on this Thursday, 6 minutes after 3. You know the deal. After 3 o'clock, you can listen to us on 5AA, on the app, online. You can also check us out on Facebook and YouTube. The Complete Care live stream is now operational. That's complete with a K. And if you are near your phone, your laptop, your computer, you want to tune in because a radio legend is in the studio. Any excuse to catch up with the great Tony Pilkington, I jump at the chance. He's back in the City of Churches. He's in a studio that he's never been in before. It's a bit fancier than probably when you started all those years ago. Pilko, lovely to see you. Welcome back.
Leith,
welcome home.
Thank you for the invitation. I tell you who I enjoyed a little after 2 o'clock today, Dr. Emily. What a breath of fresh air.
So Emily Kirkpatrick was alongside Nicola Speria as the medical voice of COVID for us, and now isn't with SA Health anymore. But yeah, no, she's fascinating. I think we'll try and get her in more often because there's always stories to talk about.
Well, she was talking about measles, and you think that's pretty boring, but you suddenly realise just how complicated it can be. And she made it entertaining and all fully informative too.
Do you remember, did you have your measles shot when you were a kid?
See, I can't remember.
Yeah, who would know?
Who would know?
Were you born 1966 or?
Oh, I wish. I wish.
Now, what do you do? First and foremost, you know we're delighted to have you here. Are you back?
Yeah, back. Anne and I are back. We're at Parkside, small little house. We've got cartons all over the place. And we're going to try and flog the cartons, the empty cartons. But it's lovely to be back in Adelaide. It's not until you've lived away from Adelaide that you can appreciate just how good it is. And you say to people, City of Churches is pretty boring sort of a place, isn't it? And you say, wait a minute, there are things here that other cities would kill for. The parklands, the tour down under, the festivals, the Adelaide Oval, and the fact there are no road tolls here. You think, what's the big deal? And you can actually drive into town and probably find a car park. And the restaurants are as good as anywhere in the world and a lot cheaper than Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane. So you say to these people, when did you go to Adelaide? Oh, as a 5-year-old. I went there for auntie's. You say, you haven't been back since? Well, there's nothing to go back for. I said, you've got to live there to appreciate just how good it is.
That's what Cornsey always says. You can go to places around the world. There might be better cities in the world than Adelaide. You know, some might argue and put up New York as an example of that, but there's no better place to come home to. And I'm sure you and Anne felt that when you returned home. It's just like an exhale. You're back, your family, your friends, your familiar surrounds.
Yeah, the layout of Adelaide is quite simple. There are no hills, and it's all in squares. And the parklands, you take the parklands for granted. I know there's a bit of a hassle at the moment about the North Adelaide golf course. And I'm thinking, I'm all for progress, but that's a landmark. Why not leave it as it is?
See, this is good. You're looking at things with fresh eyes now.
I suppose so, Leith. Yeah, I suppose.
You might join Shane Soddy and the people of the Parklands group. You might be sort of pickets out. Having a crack at Mally.
I don't play golf, and I thought the parklands and the trees you've got here, things like you had a lady on from one of the nurseries.
Di.
And things that you take for granted here, the trees, they're all dying at the moment because it's winter. But you grow roses here better than anybody else in Australia.
Rose capital of the world, they tell us.
I've no doubt about that. Even in the middle of winter or at the beginning of winter, some of the rose bushes look just superb. But the thing about it is you can drive around Adelaide and be confident of finding a car park somewhere.
As opposed to the big cities of Australia where you don't.
Oh, well,
it's a nightmare.
Sydney has so many road hold-ups, whether it's the bridge or Melbourne, and you think, how would you be driving to work and you're held up for an hour and a half? And nothing you can do about it. I mean, a hold up in Adelaide, 10 minutes. I got held up this morning, really?
That's right.
It was at least 7 or 8 minutes. And you think, that's nothing.
So, you know, my son's playing for the Eagles under 16s.
All right.
And we played Glenelg on the weekend, and my friends drove up from the southeast. So they drove 8 hours for a game of football, 4 hours from Millicent to get to Glenelg so their son could play. And then they drove 4 hours back to Millicent.
Really?
8-hour round trip for a game of footy. We bitch and moan when we got to go to the Ponderosa or we got to go to Noarlunga. It's 45 minutes. And we go, 45 minutes. We're so blessed here in Adelaide that everything's so close.
Yeah.
That's a Parramatta to the city hour every day.
Oh, yeah. And people do it on a regular basis. I had a son who used to catch the train to work in Sydney. And I said, how long does it take you? He said, it's only 40 minutes. And I said, and the walk from where you're going to? He said, about another 10 minutes. I said, so that's 50 minutes multiplied by 2. And he said, stop there. He said, it's hopeless to drive into the city.
Yes.
You can't afford the car park.
Yep.
$35, $40 a day, that sort of thing.
It's amazing. You and I just got the finger from Graham Corns. I think he's going to come in and say hello too. So I found out you were home, first and foremost. So I thought, great chance to get you in, just to have a chat, because it's always fun to talk to you about life. If people want to speak to Pilko, 8223 0000, I'm sure he would love to have a chat to you. Cornsy, go on mic 4 if you want to come in there. Graham Corns.
What are you doing here?
Is here. He's returned. Like you always say, there's no better city than Adelaide to return to. He's back home. He lives in Adelaide again.
You coming back to live?
Yeah, back here.
Of course you are.
We've got a small little house, and Anne's frantically trying to get it organised.
Yeah, mine's a bit smaller these days too.
I've heard about that, yeah, but move on.
Good to see you, though. You're looking well.
Did you sell the beautiful home you had down at Glenelg?
Sold pretty quickly, actually. So.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Real estate is affordable in Adelaide. The thing that's not affordable is the stamp duty you pay on a house here.
Don't talk about it.
I know that real estate agents from Tupi and all the rest of it have complained about that for years. But you've got to say the Premier here is probably as popular as
anywhere as
Don Dunstan ever was.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
I would think that.
Probably even more so.
Really? So I wasn't around in the Dunstan
He was popular,
era.
but he was very much left. More perhaps left and liberal, left than perhaps Peter is, I think.
If Peter Malinauskas told us all to get to the jetty, because there was a tidal wave coming, would people follow like they did in the Dunstan days, do you think? Does he still have the same aura?
I think he's got an aura about him, but for other reasons. Like Don Dunstan was he was flamboyant. I don't think Peter's flamboyant, was he?
No. Will Peter be tempted to go into federal politics, or will he say that, no, hang on, I'm
He says no. Yeah. He says no because he wants to go home, like all of us. We live in Adelaide, and he realises this is the best place in the world. Why would I not be able to leave work and go and have time with my family? But
his protégé, Don Farrell, Minister for Trade, I think would love to get him into federal politics.
He would dominate, don't you think?
He'd be a star.
He would be a star.
Compared to what else is...
He would be a star.
Anyway, Pilko, more importantly, are you going to do any work? Will we see you back at the radio station?
Well, I don't know. I'm in here now, and that's about it. I do some keynote speaking, after dinner speaking, on two topics. 50 years without a real job, including the 20 with Baz and Pilko, and conversations with Bradman, which fascinates people. I got to know him. I knew him, but I didn't know him for about 16 years. And it all started when the late Graham McLeod said, Pilko, will you MC the Bradman Medal? In those days, it was held in the Italian club up in Perry Street. And he said, there's no fee involved, but he said, we're short of. And for 16 years, I MC'd that. He had some great guest speakers, Sir Garfield Sobers, a young guy from WA who was... And Bradman, I'd introduce him, 400 people to be there, and I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, the medal is named after this gentleman. Please make him welcome, Sir Donald Bradman. And the people were hanging on, Bradman's going to speak. It was always about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And he sat down and left it at that. He told some great stories. The one that I remember is he batted all day. He was saying at Lord's in the 1948 Invincibles tour. And he was overnight not out, pretty close to 200. Went out the next morning and got out within the first half hour. And one of the afternoon papers in England had the headline, you know how they used to have he's out.
Yeah.
And I said, he said, there's an anecdote to that story. He said, I got out, and he said, I was sitting alongside Keith Miller, and suddenly a guy turned up in a military uniform and said, Mr. Bradman, this is 1948, he wasn't knighted till the next year, Mr. Bradman, Field Marshal Lord Bernard Montgomery would like a word. And Bradman said, a hero of the Second World War, of course, I'm delighted. Followed this bloke up to a private box, and Montgomery is sitting there with his binoculars. Said, Bradman, thank you for coming. Is the wicket playing any different this morning than it was yesterday? And Don thought, I wasn't in long enough, your lordship, to... And he then said, thank you. And he said, the guy behind me effectively said, time to go. So he said, that was the end of the conversation. He said, I went down and sat alongside Keith Miller and told him the story. What did Miller say? Braddles, that'll be the first time you've been dismissed twice in the one day.
He grew up in Hobart, Montgomery, Viscount Montgomery.
Yeah.
His father was the head of not an archbishop or...
Okay.
But a Protestant one. Right? So,
did you ever have Sir Donald on with you and KG?
No, we couldn't get him.
No. Didn't want to do it.
Wouldn't do it.
Wasn't the media type?
KG asked lots and lots of times. So I sat down with Keith Miller one day, though. That was amazing.
He's one of your heroes, isn't he? Keith Miller, for what he did, everything.
What's my phone? Sorry.
That's okay. He's new to the radio game. Hey, we're going to get to a break and talk more with Pilk on the other side. Just quickly, both of you, like, you're seeing studios for the first... When did you start radio? 1991?
88.
When did you start, Pilko?
It was called wireless when I started.
Back in the wireless?
Back in the 63.
Can you believe... Look at it. There's cameras, there's neon lights, there's desks that move up and down.
And there's not an album inside.
No.
What you had to do, you had to put your records on and your ads were in cartridges.
Cartridges?
I can remember the first thing I played on air was I thought I'd get the sack. I went down to a place called Warrnambool in Victoria, and the manager met me and thought, "Oh, you sounded so good on the phone," effectively saying you got a head like a beaten flavour. And he said, "We'll put you on Sunday night." He said, "The only thing you've got to do." And what do we call you? I said, Tony or Pilko? Mm-hmm. No, he said, we'll call you Tony. He said, the only thing you've got to do after the 6:30 news, before quarter to 7, and when a girl marries, the popular serial at the time, he said, is read out the funeral announcements. And I said, the what? He said, yes. He said, Jack Guide will come over and give you the funeral announcements. Read them as is. Don't ad-lib. I always remember the funeral announcements. It's with deep regret we announced the sudden death. They could have been lingering in the base hospital forever, but that didn't sound good. So-and-so, requiem mass for the repose of his soul will be... I think he hasn't been to church since he was baptised.
You didn't say that.
And he said, any donations will be made to Alcoholics Anonymous. And everybody knew it was the town drunk who'd carked it. And I finished the funeral announcements, 3 of them. Jack Guide said... I want you to be straight on this. It costs 3 guineas. So I finished the funeral announcements and I had a couple of minutes to spare before when a girl's marriage started. So I thought, I'll just play this record I've got on. Never forget it. Funeral announcements. Lawrence Welk and the orchestra. And so good it's been good to know you.
Oh,
how inappropriate.
That is inappropriate. The great Tony Pilkington is here. Graham Corns is here. Lovely to see you. Why are you here?
We're rehearsing with the police band.
Oh,
for
yes.
Big engagement tomorrow for the Undie Drive.
So let me just fill you in, Pilko, and people that are listening. So David and Will tomorrow on breakfast. So Catherine House, Hutt Street Centre, raising money because as you know, during this time of the year, they get coats and jeans and jumpers and everything, but they don't get socks and jocks. So every year, FIVEAA does an Undie Drive where people donate. Deals are done and sort of dares are made, if you like. So we all had to climb the stairs in full fire equipment gear from top to level 4.
Really?
A few people said he was a firefighter a bit longer than Kane was, which is a little unfair. We've had Rowie was an umpire. There's all these different things. So tomorrow there's a band. It's the South Australian Police Band, G-Corns, the Premier.
The Premier, the Police Commissioner.
The Police Commissioner.
Ange McBride and...
Oh, Angie's in there. Matt, the saxophonist for the Crows.
The guy who stands on the top of the stand.
Who's amazing.
And what are you actually doing? What's the
They're going to play a song. Do we know? Or is that a secret?
I'm still standing.
Oh, really?
After all. Not an easy song to
Elton John. Elton John.
So anyway, but the police band guys are great. The guy who plays the sax on the top of he's a great guy. He played with our FIVEAA band.
Did he?
A couple of years ago. So he was telling us about the other day when the tempest hit. And the northerly was blowing him backwards and in this pouring rain.
Really?
But he's still...
Oh, Matt Sammett's amazing. And he was on the roof climb, and they had him chained and he was playing his set. I said to him, you know how forever you said crows need their Never Tear Us Apart?
Yeah.
He is the Never Tear Us Apart.
But you can't sing along with it, though. That's
no, but
thing.
I think he still G's the crowd up. He's become a sensation and they keep winning, so...
Who is this gentleman you're talking about?
He's a saxophonist here in Adelaide. And he plays pre-game entertainment for the Crows, and the Crows are now top of the table and will probably win the flag. And he might be there at the MCG playing the sax.
That's one thing that hasn't changed, the fierce rivalry between Crows supporters and the Port Adelaide boys. And people refer to them as fans. They're not fans, they're supporters. Fans are people who follow a music group or a movie or a movie star. They're not fans.
Supporters.
They're supporters.
Bit pedantic there, I reckon.
Like it. You two can fight about that in the break. Cornsey and Pilko here, 21 after 3.
Australia, the wait is over. ACDC are back. Power up at the BP Adelaide Grand Final, Sunday, November 30. One of the world's greatest rock bands, AC/DC, with special guests Amyl and the Sniffers. Limited premium concert viewing tickets into areas A and B still available. All tickets include access to the BP Adelaide Grand Final on Sunday. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
So it was late when we pulled into the driveway. Headlights swept across our house. The front door, wide open. My mum's rings were gone, our laptops, the kids' gaming console. But the biggest thing they stole was our sense of safe. That's why we called Camtech Home Security. Camtech built a security system with smart cameras and real-time monitoring. We never got our stuff back, but thanks to Camtech, we got our sense of safe back. Visit camtech.net.au.
Don't miss the Cheapest Chips Chippy Rewards Super Sale on now.
Cheapest Chips.
Members get $70 off when you spend $150 or more on furniture. Sign up and start saving. Offer ends Sunday. Live cheaper with Chippy Rewards Super Sale on now at Cheapest Chips.
Hurry in to Decor Extras for a massive lighting clearance sale. Save up to 80% on floor lamps, table lamps and pendants, including lighting shades, from just $5 to $50. So rush in to Decor Extras now. 48 Henry Street, Stepney.
Healthy soil is the key to a thriving garden. Good soil needs a mix of organic matter, nutrients and biology, all of which you will find in Chock-a-Block, a new super compost from Nutrog. Chock-a-Block is a unique blend of nutrition, microbes and humates with absolutely no green waste, meaning it's consistent all year round. Chock-a-Block, easy to remember as it's literally chock-a-block full of goodness. Look out for the green and gold bale in your local hardware or garden centre.
For over 45 years, Statesman Windows, a third-generation South Aussie family-run business, has helped home renovators and builders bring design, charm and natural light into their homes. With industry-leading turnaround times, Statesman Windows continues to offer value for money, backed up by great service and advice right across Metro and regional South Australia. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
Are you or someone you know living with epilepsy? 1 in 25 Australians will develop epilepsy at some stage in their lives. The Epilepsy Centre in Adelaide is dedicated to raising awareness in the community to reduce the stigma and create a more welcoming and inclusive society. We do this by providing epilepsy awareness and seizure first aid to people living with epilepsy, their families and friends. Thanks to state government funding, we can offer this education at no cost. For more information, go to epilepsycentre.org.au.
5AA Afternoons with Leith Forrest.
Literally a conversation with Cornsey sort of happening between the ad breaks too. No excuse needed. The great Tony Pilkington is here, radio legend. He's back in Adelaide permanently. So I guess if people want to hire you as a speaker for their organisations or service clubs, you can do all of that. We can put you in touch.
Love doing it, actually. 50 years without a real job, and people say, what's it all about? I said, commercial radio. I mean, a lot of people think it's a real job. And what's proven to be popular is Conversations with Bradman, because a lot of people knew him. Yes. But I always say, I knew him, but I didn't know him. Yeah. And people say, what's that about? I said, there'd probably be 4 people in the world who could say that they actually know Don Bradman. One would be Jesse Menzies, his wife, his granddaughter, Gretel, his son, John, and probably the former Redbacks captain, Les Fabel. Yes. They would be the 4 people who could say, we actually knew and we know Don Bradman. He could be a difficult customer. And the last time we had morning tea together was early 2000s. And I said to Sir Donald, it was always Sir Donald and Pilko. I said, do you listen to the show? He said, no, I listen to Classic FM. So in other words, no, I don't. And I said to Sir Donald, are you sick of being Don Bradman? And he kind of looked at me and I thought, He said, just maybe I am. Because he couldn't go anywhere or do anything. No. And people wanted to... He wouldn't pose for photos. He hated that idea, sign autographs. But he couldn't go anywhere.
I might have told you the story. When I moved to North, I was a boarding master at Pembroke for 6 years, from 97 to 2003. And the boys had to walk along the parade and then turn right onto Holden Street to get to the girls' campus for dinner. Breakfast, lunch and dinner every day. The only 2 homes in that street that aren't owned by Pembroke are owned by the Bradmans.
Right. Number two.
Don's on the left, the 2-story red brick place, and John's across the road. So it was instruction. Every kid that ever went to Pembroke, you never knock on the Bradman door.
Oh, no.
Ever. Don't annoy them, and we would see Lady Jessie in the garden, and sometimes Don would almost come out and, run us over with his car. But when we got that little glimpse of him, it was so amazing because and then he had the birthday. Sachin Tendulkar was there. Shane Warne was there. Like everyone, the street was packed this day as we all walked up to Turner House. It was just magic.
He was an icon before we actually knew what the word meant. Before Dennis Lilly and before Shane Warne and even before Paul Hogan and Crocodile Dundee. And in India, population of 1.2 billion people. Brian Carlton, you remember Brian, Bryan?
Yep.
The advertiser photographer went around to number 2 Holden Street,
Kensington,
and took a photo of Bradman and either side of him Tendulkar and Warne. He was contracted to the Tiser, and he said, when I got back, he said somebody with an Indian accent phoned and said, "We'd like exclusive rights to that photo you've just taken." He said, "I can't do it." And I said, "What sort of money was involved?" He said, "Probably 3 years' wages." And he said, "Enough to pay off my house and the kids' house and take a long holiday." And he said, "Oh, no, it would have caused an awful kerfuffle." But he said the guy was genuine. He'd like the exclusive rights to that photo for the Times of India. And I remember saying to Bradman had still heard the story, but he liked Keith Miller. He liked Sam Loxton, a very young Neil Harvey.
And he liked people who didn't use him for their own benefit.
Oh, very much so.
Yep.
And he was able to twig very early in the piece, if indeed you were using him.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
And I said, Sir Donald, why won't you engage with the media? And he said, didn't say I don't trust them. He said, I don't feel comfortable. And I always remember him telling the story of the Bodyline series. Remember it was made here in Adelaide. It went to air on a Sunday night and a Monday night.
Gary Sweet.
Yeah, with Channel 10. So the first program goes to air at 8:30 on the Sunday night, and 20 minutes into the program, the phone rings, and I grab it. Yeah. So, why? Pilko, it's I recognise the voice straight away. He said, "Tell me, who's playing the role of the chairman of the Marylebone Cricket Club?" I said, "Sir Donald, it's a Melbourne actor called Frank Thring." And he said, "Oh, I knew his father. He used to own the Tivoli in Melbourne." "Oh, okay. What do you think of the program?" "I'll ring you in the morning. I'll let you know." So the next morning, the Monday morning, Barry and I got on air and said, "Sir Donald Bradman will be on the program this morning, telling us what he thinks of the first episode of..." The phone went at 9:10. He said, "No, these turkeys finish at 9 o'clock and I'll ring at 9:10. I said, "Sir Donald, what did you think of it?" He said, Jessie, Lady Bradman, didn't realise how good-looking I was when I was young." And he said, "Who was the actor?" I said, "Gary Sweet from Glenelg South." And he said, "We had a bit of a laugh, though." He said, "According to that, John was born a year before we got married."
So not quite right. I didn't quite get it right. I think Hugo Weaving was Douglas Jardine in that from memory too,
right?
Which was a great series. You know how commercial radio works. I've got to get to a break because the news is coming up. You're welcome to hang around. Peter Gago's going to join us in a second because Penfolds. But it's lovely to see you.
Thank you, mate, for the invitation.
No, we'll get you back. Well, there's so much we've got to talk about. But if people are interested in guest speaking, can they come to us and we'll pass them on to you?
Yeah, that'd be happy.
Okay.
Happy to do that.
Service clubs, coiteries, groups.
Yeah.
Your home?
Criminals, you name it. I'm not fussy.
That's right. Great to see. Welcome home,
mate. Thank you. And congratulations on the show. You're sounding great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If I was Tracy, I'd be seriously worried.
The legend, Tony Pilkington. All the best. 3:30.
Thank you, mate.
For another year supporting Hutt Street Centre and Catherine House, raising funds to provide clean underwear for those who are less fortunate.
This year there's more ways than ever for you to get involved, including heading to your local Foodland to make a $2 donation with your shopping.
It's that easy, and don't forget you can still head to 5AAndydrive.com.au anytime to donate.
All thanks to Foodland, with more stores close to home and everyday low prices. Great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
afternoon, I'm Kendall Brettig. US President Donald Trump plans to introduce a 100% tariff on foreign computer chips, likely raising the cost of electronics. Flinders Medical Centre's operating as normal after a small fire this morning. Crow Brodie Smith has become a dad, welcoming son Luca with his wife. And Michael Voss will coach Carlton into next year after being endorsed by the club's board. Partly cloudy and 16. At the moment, 14. More news at 4 o'clock on 5AA, always Adelaide.
The next chapter begins. Burnside Village is more sophisticated than ever. With our new elevated shopping experience, explore the 2-story Mecca flagship store and SA's only Cocoa Republic showroom. Plus JB Hi-Fi, Uniqlo, July, Style Runner, Age, Sea Folly, Nude Lucy and much more. Discover new fashion, home and lifestyle, health and wellness. Plus an additional 560 free undercover car parks. Burnside Village. Fashion, dining, lifestyle. burnsidevillage.com.au.
Oh, I think the standout process, and I know that Marty talks about how his father painted for the royal family, they do treat you like royalty. The whole process from woe to go, they make you feel special and they do a special job on the job. So it was just that sort of attention to detail. The house was cleaner after they'd finished than it was when they started. You know, they are very thorough. They couldn't have taken any more care if they'd tried. I would have absolutely no hesitation in recommending paint professionals for any job, big or small.
Hello, this is Roger from Optical by National Pharmacies.
Hey, is there a 20% off sale?
There's no sale.
Oh, I missed it.
No, you can still save 20%.
What?
It's just not a sale.
Then what is it?
It's just 20% off frames, lenses and sunglasses.
So like a sale?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not really.
Oh.
You just need a National Pharmacies membership. You can join in store today.
Oh, a membership.
Yeah, with Optical by National Pharmacies, you've got this. Terms and conditions apply.
When deciding on a gas fireplace for your home heating, you may think they all look the same. Well, at the gas shop, we're more than happy to
turn the lights down low. So you can see how different each one is. That's a beautiful thing. Heating, cooking, comfort, turn on to the gas shop. 161 Unley Road, opposite Target.
Experience the romantic rivers of France with scenic luxury cruises and tours and Phil Hoffman Travel. Explore the historic beauty of Normandy and gems of the Seine, beautiful Bordeaux or the spectacular south of France in all-inclusive ultra-luxury on board an 11-day scenic river cruise. Book now for included economy flights or upgrade to business. Plus enjoy a bonus luxury hotel stay from $8,195 per person twin share. Offer ends August 31st. Visit pht.com.au.
When you book a hearing test with Can Do Hearing, you'll be seen by an accredited audiologist. Can Do Hearing is South Australian and we're not owned by a hearing aid manufacturer. This means we only recommend what's going to work for you, and your options are almost endless. Plus the extra bonus, our profits go to Can Do for Kids, supporting local kids living with hearing and vision loss. Book an appointment with Can Do Hearing today. candohearing.com.au. That sounds better.
Live, local. This is 5AA, always Adelaide. 5AA Afternoons with Leith Forrest.
24 minutes to 4. Stephen Rowe, Tim Ginniver coming up very shortly. That, what's the word? Pouring, I guess, you can hear in the background. So many people have said to me today, this next segment is so wasted on me, but this is the beauty of 5AA that Tim Ginniver, I think, is going to come down and help us out. Today, Penfolds, the much-loved, world-famous, world-renowned pride of South Australia, really, have unveiled their much-anticipated 2025 collection. It is an exceptional lineup of 24 wines from Australia, the United States, France and China, all with that Penfolds distinct style right across the globe. The chief winemaker of Penfolds is here joining us this afternoon, Peter Gago. Lovely to see you, Peter. Thanks for coming in.
Great to see you, Lee. Thanks for the invite.
Have you ever been on a show where the person doesn't drink?
Well, this is a touch sad, but no, this is all about sharing. And as we said earlier, you may not drink it, but you can always smell it.
Well, I can. And I'll mention this to Di Hall a little later. And this is going to be a fun live stream for us, thanks to Complete Care on Facebook and YouTube when Tim comes in for the tasting. But I said to Di Hall before, the beauty of an airlocked room like this is that smells don't disappear.
No.
You know, now you don't want a
no.
bad smell because it can't disappear. Right now, you've opened up some bottles. So it smells beautiful in here.
Well, we were talking earlier about passive drinking, and that's what we're doing. The aromatics that leap out of this glass at the 21 Grange are really something, and they're captured in this room.
So when you release new wine, this is for the people who love Penfolds, obviously, but a lot of new tasters too, I guess, to come to your brand.
Absolutely.
Yep.
This morning at McGill, where we did launch globally, we had a number of TV stations and lots of people from all parts of the world. Having said that, though, we've been travelling the world for the last few weeks, mainly interfacing with media to get scores because endorsements are everything, of course.
Yes.
And pouring the glass, which is a utopic thing of doing. If only we could pour, then you don't have to say anything. The wine does the talking. But, it truly is a great South Australian thing, pouring these wines made down the road to people across the Americas, the Nordics, across Asia. And the thing is, they come back year after year, and Grange next year celebrates its 75th anniversary.
Wow.
So it's not a one-hit wonder now. It's got a track record. You know, well, Penfolds last year, 180th anniversary. 1844 founded. So we're talking reality here. We're talking about the next 180 years. And it's not just Grange. You know, the collection today contains many wines, including some that we made in France, an FWT 543 Cab Syrah, a CWT China winemaking trial out of Shangri-La and Ninja. So a South Australian winery now not only selling but making wine across the planet.
Yeah, that fascinates me. So you've got obviously the Australian connection, but you're making wines in Bordeaux.
In Bordeaux, yes. We've just bought our fourth property there. And there's a young lady called Shauna Basta from our winemaking team who's now permanently based in Bordeaux. We go across, obviously, whenever we can. But these are little satellite operations. So we're not turning our back on local growers or anything like that. And this is the great thing, you know, like as an example in California, we release a wine 704. It's a Cabernet.
Yes.
Some would say, you know, a mirror image of 407, our Cabernet here. So in the Americas, if we run out of bin 407 or run out of 70, try this. So business is all about win-win, and everyone wins. And hopefully if the wines from here are alongside those wines made in China, France and California, then we sell more South Australian wine.
Yeah, I wondered, do people know that you have places in China? You have places in the United States?
Well, starting
you have places
to.
in France.
Yeah, starting to. And it's really interesting, you know, you crawl before you walk in that, and awareness is everything. And we get a little bit of media coverage in these sorts of places. But even here in Australia, for example, we're running our Penfold recorking clinics in October, November across Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide. Some people I know for a fact who will come to the Adelaide clinic, it will be their first recorking clinic.
Right.
And we've been running them for 34 years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You can never assume that people know. And that's a great thing about this thing of wine. There's massive potential because there are so many people out there waiting for the South Australian wines to be discovered.
You'll probably be modest. You're Australia's most famous wine. You're Australia's most recognisable wine, I would think. Even someone like myself who doesn't drink, everyone knows the name Penfolds. Is there pressure with that when you release a new range? Because I guess wine's so unusual that people are tasting it now, and then your reputation in 50, 70 years from now,
absolutely,
you might find out it's even better then.
Well, this is the thing, and I think from again, Australian wine perspective, this thing called Penfolds or even Grange now has runs on the board, time proven almost. So there's no arrogance. We do have that track record. So this wine today, for example, the 21, people are saying a lovely drink now. It's only 4 years old, but it will be drinking well in 50 years or 60 years if correctly cellared. And I think it's because of this reputation offshore now. Australian wine isn't just lots of fruit and lots of flavour and good value for money. No, hang on. These are serious wines of the world. And you see, even scores of international journalists were just recently in the Americas and in London getting scores and tasting with internationally known wine critics. When they give us a score, that then benchmarks us against other great wines of the world. So they're different, and people are different, may it long continue, but of similar quality levels. So people don't like raw numbers. They should be accompanied by a description of the wine and.
Yes.
But it helps that benchmarking. And South Australian wines now are benchmarked against the best on planet Earth.
Is Bordeaux, China, and the United States similar conditions to us? Like why your wines are so popular and amazing here?
It is interesting, like we jumped the Pacific to get into California, and if it weren't for the redwoods and that, sometimes, they have like we do here. If you're selling real estate in South Australia, do it in spring or, when everything's green, not when everything's half dead. Yep. And you get the similar sort of things happening in California, and it's much easier for us in a relative sense making wine in California than, for example, in Bordeaux.
Okay.
People forget Bordeaux was a swamp basically up until the 1700s, and Dutch engineers drained it. And even now, like you go there in June, July and some years, it's like Vietnam in the hot season. You get heat and you get humidity.
Yes.
So winemaking there is much more challenging. Where we are in China, we're in Shangri-La in Yunnan province. Those vineyards don't even start to 2,200 metres. Now, if you look at the Adelaide Hills, the Wesson vineyard, where we used to get Pinot Noir from, at its highest point, it's 625 metres. That's the highest.
Yes.
In Shangri-La, we start at 2,200 metres and go up. We don't have to bury those vines as you do in many parts of China during winter because of the severity of winter conditions. So we're talking brave new world in many, many ways. Although, again, Penfolds, we were selling wine, albeit not much, in China in 1893.
Is that right?
It wasn't just shipping wine back to the mother country, England, because I found out Dr. Christopher Orson Penfold was an English doctor. No, we were sending wines to India, wines to China, and obviously in recent times it's taken off a little bit more. But the China experience is an interesting one though too. Penfolds, is reasonably popular in China.
Yes.
Well, we've been working that market now for decades. It's not just selling wine there, we've been building a brand. It helps with the red capsules. It helps with the 8s, bin 28, bin 3, 8, 9 and whatever. That's coincidental. But even in Mandarin, apparently, if you say Penfolds quickly, Penfolds, it means route to prosperity in Mandarin. Like, how lucky.
It's fate. It's all fate.
It was meant to happen.
Do you know what's amazing? So we were in Shanghai for the Port Adelaide game many moons ago. I was having dinner with Phil Hoffman and his lovely wife, Ali, and your dear friend, Michael Keelan and Prue.
Oh, Michael.
We were staggered that we were sitting in a Chinese restaurant. They were drinking South Australian wine and eating South Australian beef. When you started as a winemaker all those years ago, could you have ever imagined the explosion of Australian produce and wines globally?
Never, ever. England maybe, and I was born in England, so, you go back to the founders and you do this, that, or whatever, but yes, those obscure markets, and it's not just China. People think, China. What about nowadays Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia? We're doing amazing things now, South Australia and Thailand.
Yes.
So it's that whole hub there, as well as, of course, the European countries. We're now selling, as a consequence of being actively involved in French winemaking, we're selling a lot of our Saint Henri in France, Coles de Newcastle, so it truly is a world of wine, and we want to be part of it. Very much so.
Did you get whacked a little bit through COVID? Have you been able to bounce out?
We did, and also with tariffs, obviously, and those sorts of things. But no, day-to-day business. You take the good, the bad, and everything else in between, and we're in it for the long term. So that's the lovely thing about risk management as well. Part of our endeavour in Bordeaux and in China and California is about this variety Cabernet Sauvignon. Shiraz, lovely South Australian climate. It phenologically ripens a little bit earlier. Cabernet, sitting there, dark clouds coming in, or maybe a bit of smoke or whatever. So we're looking further afield outside of South Australia. Well, our Yatana, our flagship Chardonnay, is now blended across 4 states of Australia, from Tumbarumba in the Snowy Mountains down to Tasmania, southern Victoria, and of course, and who could forget, the Adelaide Hills. But the best blend we can make is oftentimes from 3 or 4 states blended.
Put it together. Amazing. Chief winemaker for Penfolds, Peter Gago, is here. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we will taste for the first time the Penfolds Collection 2025. You can find out all the information on penfolds.com. And this is the beauty of your wine. The Prince of Port Adelaide is about to walk in. Tim Ginniver, a man who is no stranger to red wine whatsoever. So we'll do that. You'll be able to see it on the Complete Care live stream, Facebook and YouTube next.
5AA proudly supports Football SA. Congratulations to 2024 WNPL Grand Final champions, Salisbury Inter. Backed by Platinum sponsor Aspire Homes. Proud supporters of Salisbury Inter's women's program from day one and building homes in SA for almost 20 years. Visit aspirehomes.com.au. It's been a sensational season so far this year. So from 5AA, good luck to all the teams fighting it out for this year's championship.
Hi, Jane Riley here. Today I'm at the WEA headquarters in Angus Street talking with Leslie Venning, their CEO. Leslie, there are so many courses available. What's new?
We've got bookbinding for beginners, traditional medicines for women's health, personal financial management, and that's just 3 of about 50.
Do you have any idea of how many actual courses you run?
It's over 1,000 courses a year, and last year it was over 10,000 enrolments.
Leslie, I love catching up with you and learning about what's new here at the WEA.
So it was late when we pulled into the driveway. Headlights swept across our house. The front door, wide open. My mum's rings were gone, our laptops, the kids' gaming console. But the biggest thing they stole was our sense of safe. That's why we called Camtech Home Security. Camtech built a security system with smart cameras and real-time monitoring. We never got our stuff back, but thanks to Camtech, we got our sense of safe back. Visit camtech.net.au.
When it comes to flooring for your home or investment property, including plantation shutters and blinds, you've got the world at your feet at Floor World in Adelaide's north, east and west. Floor World keeps prices low on a huge range of flooring options, including wool and synthetic carpets, engineered timber flooring, laminate, hybrid and vinyl flooring, including some of the best Aussie and international brands at fantastic prices. Visit floorworld.com.au for a free in-home consult. Mention this ad for 15% off.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to get free installation? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? 2, the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers and get free installation on your cabinets with laminate benchtops. For a limited time, of course. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
Hi, I'm Dr. Laura Willington. Understaffing in our hospitals is harming you and me. We urgently need a workforce plan to identify the right number of doctors for each of our hospitals and health services. And we need fair wages and conditions to attract and keep doctors so you can access care when you need it. Help make our health system safer for you and safer for me. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au. Authorised by Dr. Laura Willington, President, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
The next chapter begins. Burnside Village is more sophisticated than ever. With our new elevated shopping experience, explore the 2-storey Mecca flagship store and SA's only Cocoa Republic showroom. Plus JB Hi-Fi, Uniqlo, July, Style Runner, Age, Sea Folly, Nude Lucy and much more. Discover new fashion, home and lifestyle, health and wellness. Plus an additional 560 free undercover car parks. Burnside Village. Fashion, dining, lifestyle. BurnsideVillage.com.au.
5AA Afternoons with Leith, Forrest.
11 minutes to 4. Sport show coming up. Stephen Rowe, Tim Jennifer from 4 o'clock. I really had to twist the Prince of Port Adelaide's arm to come down a little earlier to let us know what's on the show, but also we need a wine taster, Timmy, so good timing for you.
Very good timing indeed, Leith. Thank you very much, and great to see Peter again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Just awesome. I mean, the craft of this. Years ago when I was wandering the streets for 5AA with Keith Conlon on breakfast.
Yes.
And Jason Burns, who was our... Webmaster. That's what he liked to be called. We went down at 7 a.m. and you guys did a new release.
Yes.
And we got there and the tasting was at 7 a.m. And I said, what other country would you go to where you're at 7 a.m.
They used to ring a bell and we'd take croissants and sandwiches out to people and coffee and tea, and then boom.
It was amazing.
Pounce. Yeah,
I loved it.
Pounce.
So we're about to do a tasting now. I should say, and if we look on the live stream, apologies for my face, but I'll put it on so there it is there. This is the 2021.
Yes, just released today.
Yeah, Timmy. Yeah, not many people have tasted this.
Not many people
give
have.
It a roll.
But this,
so what are we looking for here, Peter? What do you expect, Tim? What's the kind of spiel you would give him?
The first impression, whether you smell and, you know, the aromatics imply everything you're about to taste and follow with. But it's firstly, it's got to be Grange. Yeah. You know, a blind Freddie could straight away tell you this is Grange. It's Penfolds, it's a red wine. It's just a matter of how does it rate in terms of the grain sort of selection. And this is right up there in the A team, the 21. We've been waiting quite some time for this release.
So I'm not drinking, but I'm smelling. What am I smelling here?
Well, at the moment, A lot of blue fruits, you know, blueberries,
Yeah,
a little bit of
that.
hoisin in there, a little bit of red licorice. It's quite exotic. And if you swill it in the glass and come back to it 10 minutes from now, you'll throw out different descriptors. It just transforms in the glass. Then, of course, in the cellar, if you wait 10, 20, 40 years, you'll see something different as well. And this is part of the magic of Grange, going on the journey over time.
I literally can smell the blueberry. And you know what's weird? I haven't tasted it, obviously. I'm smelling it, but I can taste it in the back of my mouth. Like it's gone right.
It's that powerful. It is that good.
Yeah, wow.
Now, I will ask Pete a question about why, you know, we are so good in South Australia at making wines. There's no doubt about that. Got a great reputation, but there's a reason for it. But the wife and I, we met in 1983. Now, for an anniversary present one year, I bought a 1983 Grange.
Yes.
And we had that for probably, 15 odd years or whatever. So we decided to go to the McGill Estate restaurant because they will open it for you. And I know sometimes if the cork's too soft, I won't get it out and the like.
And they use the proper implements.
Well, we went up there, they took it out for us, we had dinner, they got it all decanted, you name it, brought it to the table. Unbelievable. So it was a 40-year-old Grange that we were drinking, and it was just...
And it delivered?
Delivered.
Fantastic.
I was so... Because I was concerned. You know, you never know what can happen in 40 years.
Yeah. Well, with 83 Grange, we didn't make that much of it because if you remember here, of course, Ash Wednesday.
It was.
Yes. We had the heat of 82 followed by fires and, in fact, in the Barossa followed by floods. And we say in a biblical sense we had everything but the locusts. Well, no, they had locusts and loxton that year. But the 83 for many, many years is very, very tannic. So the fact that you drank it all those years later was a good thing. It's a lovely, lovely vintage.
Went down. And I remember when I bought it, a guy said, no, you don't want that. You want this one. It was 1990. That must have been a good year.
Well, 1991, Wine Spectator magazine, the best red wine on planet Earth. In the year 1995, that's sadly, I'm a wine lover first, winemaker second.
Yeah.
That took, sadly, Grange up a bit in price globally. Right. But it gave not only Grange, but South Australian wine an international reputation, plastered right across the world. Red wine of the year, planet Earth, Wine Spectator in the year 95.
I've got a question for you, Pete. I went to France 3 years ago, south of France, you know, a big reputation for wines and the like. And so I'm searching all over, drinking as much as I can. They have a lot of brokers that host lunches and things and put
ambassadors
their wines on
and negotiants and all sorts.
And so we went through all this. And anyway, the wines were nice. They were very nice and the like. But nothing compares to our Shirazes. Why is it that you can't get anything that I say is as meaty as this?
But it's an interesting
difference between us and Europe.
Well, sometimes though we've got to watch ourselves. You know, you can develop, I call it internally, a cellar palate, and we are a bit parochial or whatever. But the fact now that we pour these wines around planet Earth and they are getting the scores they're getting doesn't mean to say we're living in our own little environment over here. No, they do rank with some of the great wines of the world. And in fact, in the Rhone Valley where this all started, we've just created a 50-50 blend of La Chapelle from Jablay from the Hill of Hermitage with Grange. 50-50. We launched it this year in February in Paris at the Monet de Paris, the original mint of France. And they love it in France. I thought, you know, they're so conservative or whatever. They have completely embraced this blend of the best of the Hill of Hermitage Syrah with the best of South Australia, this thing called Grange. Not every year, you know, it's always up there. We're not arrogant enough to say this is the best wine or whatever. But getting back to your point, though, about drinking this wine and the bigness, we often say of Grange, it's not necessarily about bigness or boldness. It's the other magical B word, balance.
Right.
And when you sip this wine here today, it's only been released hours now. You can drink it with or without food. And you know confidently in 10, 20, 50 years' time, if correctly cellared, it will reward them as well. There aren't too many wines on planet Earth that will deliver decade after decade. And we can do it here.
So correctly cellared how? What do people do wrong?
This is good advice.
Back in the day, beneath the house. Well, beneath the house still oscillates in temperature. A perfect cellar will be between, say, 13 degrees, 13 to 15, 80% plus relative humidity. A lot of air-conditioned cellars dry out the cork. No vibration, no background odours. And don't move the wine. That's perfect cellaring. Our museum cellar at McGill Estate, when we put on events around the world, we take wines directly out of that cellar. And we'll be doing it very soon in France. In fact, in 2.5 weeks, we'll be pouring wines from McGill all the way back to the 1960s in Bordeaux at our new property at Chateau Lanison for European media, knowing with confidence it's been well cellared across the decades. Sadly, a lot of people keep the bottle on the top of the fridge or under the bed and that sort of thing.
Yes.
With our recorking clinics, that's how we deal with the leaking bottles, the low levels, and more importantly, the advice and the education of how to store wine properly. Our competitors love Penfold recorking clinics. We have educated now generations of their clients as well. So I think wine awareness, we have a lot of people visit South Australia from other countries and they cannot believe just how the person on the street understands wine as well as they do in the state. So it's not for the chosen few or the elite over there. In South Australia, we have embraced this thing called wine.
We're getting to the news. The Sport Show is on the other way. Tim, would you like to, for the Complete Care live stream, just go on, sip it. Let everyone see you enjoy the 2021 grain.
While you weren't looking, already.
Sneak.
Already dipped in a few times, Leith, but yeah, here we go. Oh, man, that's good. That is good.
That is excellent. Peter, thanks so much for coming in.
Leith.
Thank you for the education too. It's fascinating. The Penfolds Collection 2025, everything from the Grange to the Cab Sav to the Chardonnay, Barossa, Valley Shiraz, Australia wines, USA wines, France wines, China, all of that and more in the Penfolds Collection on the website?
Yes, indeed, and now all available as of today.
Well done. Lovely to see you.
Terrific.
Thanks so much for coming
Leith.
in. Chief winemaker Peter Gago, Tim Ginniver, good luck doing the Sport Show, Tim. There's a nervous open bottle of Penfolds right there. Stephen Rowe.
I'll leave the rest of this if you want to.
Don't say that, Peter. See you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coming up next, Adelaide's only local sport show. It's the very latest in sport, live from Adelaide.